Hello, this is Skylit Lake reading Super Science by That Chicken Dude.
Chapter 7.
Celebration. After another long and boring day at school, Izuku finally made it to his front yard. He didn't go to Egon's house today since he told him that he wouldn't come for some reason. So he went straight home, and now he was at the door. After unblocking and walking in, he called out, "Mom, I'm home." Just then, at the door, the dark house exploded into light, and the sound of popping hit his ears, with confetti and streamers falling on his face and head, followed up by two voices cheering, "Congratulations!" "What? Huh? Mom? Professor? What's going on?" Izuku asked, dumbfounded. "It's a party," Inko explained. "For you." Egon follows up. "Me? For what?" Izuku asks back, still unsure of what they meant. "You seriously don't know?" Inko asks as she shakes her head. She giggles and tells him, "Izuku, you passed." Egon saw that Izuku didn't understand, so he jumped in and explained. "You passed your last test and aced it. You officially have your 4th degree. You have a doctoral degree. You can officially, and most importantly, work for me." "I thought I still had 2 left," Izuku stated, a little confused and overwhelmed. "I honestly wouldn't be surprised if you didn't try to shoot straight for an honorary degree," Egon praised him. "It's also the day that your research facility has finally completed construction," Inko told him. This finally snapped Izuku out of his funk, and he exclaimed excitedly, "Wait, for real? That's awesome!" "It's also your graduation day," Egon added in. "But I thought that wasn't for another 2 weeks," Izuku asks back, feeling confused and concerned since he could have lost track of time, which he did a lot recently. Inko nods and tells him, "It is, but since you'll be so busy, we thought it would be best to have this party now." She then brings her son into a hug and tells him, "Izuku, I'm so sorry." Taken aback by this, Izuku pulls back and holding his mom's arms, he questions her. "What? Mom, why are you sorry?" "Because I feel partly to blame for your previous situation," she admitted while looking away. "When I came to terms that you wanted to be a hero, even without a quirk, I was beside myself with worry. As a mother, I tried my best to support you, but in the back of my mind, I prayed that you'd given up. I'm sorry," she told him with tears in her eyes. Looking away in shame, she wipes her face and tells him with a more upbeat attitude, "But seeing you here and accomplishing more than I could ever expect, and more than anyone else in the world, especially myself, at your age, I can't help but feel proud. So very, very proud," she told him with teary eyes. "Mom," Izuku spoke back on the verge of tears before wrapping her in a hug and telling her, "Thank you for always supporting and believing in me." "Izuku," Egon interjects lightly. Pulling away, the man wraps his arms over his shoulder and tells him, "This time is all about you. If not for you, none of this would have happened. You and you alone made all this happen. You should feel proud of yourselves for all you've managed to achieve. As far as I'm concerned, you're my hero, Izuku." Izuku's dam finally breaks and he plunges his face in his chest while sobbing, "Thank you, Professor, for giving me a chance when no one else would." Egon pets and rubs his back for a bit, but soon pulls him off while drying his face and proclaiming, "Okay, Enough of the waterworks. Let's eat and be merry. Chapter 8. Last Confrontation. Izuku sat up from his desk and rolled his shoulders. After sitting hunched over on his desk, it had been another normal, quiet, and boring day at school. Actually, it's been nothing but boring since Egon gave him all the coursework to simply copy directly from and get a passing grade. Surprisingly, no one, not even Bakugo, had bothered him once in the past months. It was kinda nice to be ignored by everyone and not have to deal with them, and he wouldn't have to any longer, since this was the last day of school. Their teacher left early, allowing them to do whatever until the bell rang, and boy was Izuku glad that it did, because he could swear he could feel Bakugo trying to burn holes into his head as he sat behind him. So, after a stretch, and waiting for everyone else to leave, he muttered under his breath, "Thank goodness it's over." "Oi, Deku!" the loud voice of Bakugo yelled at him. "Oh no," he mumbled with a sigh. He turned around in time to see the seemingly ever-furious Bakugo trudge toward him with his two tagalongs. "Don't you ignore me, nerd!" he demanded. "Yes, Kachan?" Izuku asked in a neutral tone. Seeing him not even reacting like a scared dog made Bakugo make an expression crossed between irritation and confusion, as he asked while poking his chest, "What's up with you, huh? You've been acting weirder than normal, quieter, more reserved. You're practically not here. Hell, I've forgotten you were even here for a few weeks." "So?" Izuku shrugged in reply. "So?" Bakugo exclaimed. "So what? I'm not bothering or looking down on you like you hate so much. What's the problem? I thought you'd like it," Izuku told him with no emotion in his voice or expression on his body. Bakugo growled and exclaimed, "It pisses me off. It's like you're planning something or doing something behind my back." Izuku sighs exhausted and asks back, "Will nothing I do ever satisfy you? Whether I'm in your face or as far away as possible, you'll never seem happy about the results." "What did you say?" Izuku flinches as Bakugo gets face to face, but calms himself down and turns while saying, "Goodbye, Kachan." "Hold it!" he yelled while grabbing his collar and holding him up to his face. "I'm not done talking to you, nerd. You're still acting weird, and I want to know why," Bakugo said, as Izuku did nothing while being held up, making the teen growl and yell, "You better not be trying to be a hero." In the past, in the past, Izuku would have been like his usual self, squeaking and cowering in fear, protecting his face from any attack. But ever since the day that Bakugo told him to, he's become completely numb to anything he could do or say. It didn't affect him anymore. The fear, it no longer controlled him, and Bakugo couldn't use it to control him either. "I'm not," he said in a cold voice. "Well, you better wait, what?" Bakugo said, going from angry to straight up flabbergasted. Izuku sighs again, pulls off his hand, and yells at him, "I'm not Kachan. I give up. You're right. I was wrong. You win. Happy now?" "I... what? Why?" Bakugo blabbered out while taking a step back. This time it was Izuku's turn to demand back. "Why? Why do you care? You never cared before, so why start caring now?" Bakugo took another step back, completely confused as to what was happening. Izuku continued. I've stopped trying to be a hero, okay? You'll never see me again. You won't have to deal with me again. Isn't that what you wanted? Bakugo said nothing in return, just stared at him with his mouth open in shock. Izuku dropped his arms and told him, and you know what? For whatever it's worth, I'm glad I won't see you again. Izuku grabbed his bag and just before walking past him, see you never, Kachan. After leaving the school, Izuku made a beeline straight for the newly constructed research facility. It took him about 30 minutes by foot, but only because he was thinking so much about what happened and how it would affect things from here. But before he could get any more lost in his mind, he arrived at the front of the facility where Egon called out to him, "Ah, Izuku, there you are! Me and your mother were getting worried," Egon exclaimed as he waved over the boy, his mother standing beside him. Izuku turned his head after trotting over to them, saying apologetically, Sorry, I was kinda dragging my feet. Did you have a good last day? Sorry I wasn't able to come to get you." Inko apologizes to him as well. It's okay, Mum, we're fine. We're here now, Izuku assures her while changing the subject. Then a sharp ahem grabbed both their attention, and they both looked over to Egon, who had a large set of scissors while standing in front of a large sheet of paper that covered everything in the front, and the front 8 feet up. Well then, without further ado, lady and gentlemen, might I present to you our brand new research facility, Egon cried out while cutting the banner and exposing the new building for the two Midoriyas to gawk at. The building is what you would expect to see out of a research facility, a huge building with squared off everything, made of white stone from the inside, with huge glass windows and more offshoot buildings that had almost no distinguished marks, nearly uniform to everything else, all except the front, which was the most creatively designed part, that had stone stairs leading up to it as it stood on a raised surface. As they stood in awe of the building, Egon came up by Izuku's side and placed a hand around his shoulder while motioning to it, saying, Look at it, Izuku. This is the culmination of all our hard work. Together, we're going to make some big discoveries and even bigger changes. I hope to see it through as long as I can, Izuku told him with a smile. So do I, Egon agreed, while looking up at a long-time dream becoming true. Wiping a tear from his eye, a thought crossed his mind. Say, what do you want to start on first? Izuku thought for a moment, looking like he didn't want to tell, but finally opened up and said, Well, I'd like to do more experiments with the singularity soul radiation on plants and animals for starters, and? Egon questioned him after hearing the boy fall off. Izuku shook his head and waved it off while saying, Ah, never mind, forget it. What about you, Professor? Egon placed a finger to his chin and answered, Truthfully, I'd like to figure out a name for this place. You got anything? Izuku thought about this for a minute before finally saying, How about... Hello guys, I hope you enjoyed these chapters. They're quite short, so I got them done real quickly. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!